How does China build so fast while the West can't even finish a single bridge? China built a 1,000-bed hospital in 10 days. America can't renovate a subway station in 10 years. China constructed 30,000 miles of high-speed rail, while California spent 28 years and still hasn't finished 200 miles. They're building entire cities for millions of people in the time it takes your city to approve a parking garage. You're about to discover why this gap exists and why the West has already lost this race. But first, you need to understand who's actually making the decisions. Engineers versus lawyers. Who's running the show? Here's something you've never thought about. What did your country's leaders study in college? In America, most presidents studied law or political science. In the UK, prime ministers come from politics and economics. Across Europe, it's the same story. Lawyers, career politicians, business school graduates who've never built anything in their lives. Now look at China's top 9 leaders. 8 of them have engineering degrees. Xi Jinping, China's president, studied chemical engineering. Li Qiang, the premier who runs the government, has a degree in industrial management engineering. Go back to the previous generation and you'll find Hu Jintao, the former president, was a hydraulic engineer who actually designed dams. Jiang Zemin, president before him, built power plants as an electrical engineer. When these people look at a massive infrastructure project, they don't see a political problem to manage. They see physics. They see load calculations. They see material science and structural integrity. And this changes absolutely everything. An engineer asks one question: how do we build this? End quote. A lawyer asks something completely different. How do we avoid getting sued for building this? Think about what happens when China decides to build a high-speed rail line. The room is full of people who understand structural engineering, who can read blueprints without asking for help, who know exactly what it takes to lay track that handles trains moving at 200 miles per hour. They're not consulting experts. They are the experts. Now imagine the same meeting in Washington or London. Politicians who need engineering firms to explain the basics. Lawyers reviewing every single environmental regulation. Consultants running cost-benefit analyses for 18 months. Political advisors calculating how this affects the next election. China's leaders approve the project in weeks because they understand the technical requirements. Western leaders spend years trying to understand what their consultants are telling them. But it gets worse. This engineering mindset doesn't just sit at the top. It cascades down through China's entire government system like water flowing downhill. The officials approving building permits, engineers who can actually read the technical documents they're signing, the bureaucrats reviewing infrastructure proposals, people who understand the difference between tensile strength and compressive strength. In the West, those same positions are filled with administrators, policy experts, people who are really good at navigating regulations but couldn't tell you how a suspension bridge actually works. So when a Chinese construction company submits plans for a 50-story building, the government official reviewing it understands what they're looking at. They can spot problems. They can approve modifications on the spot. They can make technical decisions without forming a committee. In America or Europe, that same proposal goes through layer after layer of review. Environmental impact studies that take months, legal reviews that take more months, public comment periods, community input sessions, appeals, processes. China sees infrastructure as an engineering challenge to solve. The West sees infrastructure as a legal liability to manage. And here's the part that should terrify you. This difference compounds with every single project. Every bridge China builds makes their engineers better at building bridges. Every subway system adds to their institutional knowledge. Every high-speed rail line teaches them something new. But Western projects are so rare, so spread out, that expertise evaporates between them. By the time America finishes one major project, the team that built it has retired. The knowledge disappears. The next project starts from scratch. China's construction sector never stops learning because it never stops building. But the engineering leadership is only part of the story. The engineering army? Nobody talks a boo. You want to know the real secret weapon? China graduates 4.7 million STEM students every single year. Let that number sink in for a second. 4.7 million engineers, scientists, and technical specialists every year, walking out of universities and straight into the workforce. America graduates 568,000. China produces more engineers annually than the United States, Europe, and Japan combined. This isn't just a bigger talent pool. This is a completely different game. When China needs structural engineers for a mega project, they have thousands to choose from. When they need civil engineers who specialize in underground construction, they're everywhere. Electrical engineers for smart grid systems? Take your pick. There's no shortage, ever. Compare that to the West, where major projects get delayed for months just trying to find qualified specialists. Where engineering firms are competing for the same small pool of experts. Where one person retiring can tank an entire project timeline because nobody else has their specific knowledge. In China, if an engineer quits, there are 50 people who can replace them immediately. This changes how fast you can scale. A Western construction firm wants to build a subway system. First, they need to recruit engineers, post job listings, interview candidates, wait months for people to relocate, hope they can actually find enough qualified people. A Chinese construction firm gets the same contract, and they have engineers on site within days because the talent is already there, already trained, already hungry for work. The competition for jobs is so intense that costs stay low and quality stays high. These aren't mediocre engineers desperate for work. These are sharp, highly trained specialists fighting for positions on prestigious projects. But here's what nobody tells you about China's engineering education system. It's designed specifically to pump out infrastructure builders. Universities aren't teaching abstract theory and hoping students figure out how to apply it. They're training people on real mega projects while they're still in school. Students are doing internships on actual high-speed rail construction, learning bridge design from engineers who just finished building a record-breaking span. The curriculum is aligned with national construction goals. If China needs more engineers who understand underwater tunnel boring, universities start offering specialized programs. If they need experts in desert highway construction, new courses appear. It's a seamless pipeline from graduation to construction site, and the ecosystem this creates is almost impossible to comprehend from the outside. When a problem comes up on a Chinese construction site, they don't need to hire outside consultants. They have experts in-house, multiple experts. People who can solve complex structural calculations before lunch. Technical obstacles that would shut down a Western project for weeks get solved in days, sometimes hours. More engineers means faster problem solving. It means innovation happening on-site instead of in committee meetings 6 months later. It means when something goes wrong, you have the brainpower to fix it immediately. Western projects don't have this luxury. They're running lean, hiring consultants for every specialized question, waiting for expert opinions to come back, delaying timelines because the one person who knows how to solve this specific problem is on vacation. China has so many engineers that they can throw talent at problems until they disappear. And the speed this creates isn't just about having warm bodies. It's about having the right knowledge at the right moment, constantly. But even an endless army of engineers can't build fast if they don't have something massive to build. Mega project scale, building beyond imagination. You think you understand big construction projects. You don't. The Three Gorges Dam uses more concrete than 15 Hoover dams combined. 15. Beijing Daxing Airport was built in 4 years and serves 100 million passengers annually. For comparison, Berlin's Brandenburg Airport took 14 years to build and serves 24 million passengers. The Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge stretches 34 miles across open ocean. China built it in 9 years. The San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge needed 12 years just to replace a 2-mile eastern span. These aren't construction projects. These are monuments to what happens when you build at a scale the West has completely forgotten. China has 28,000 miles of high-speed rail. That's more than the rest of the world combined. California started planning its high-speed rail in 1996. It's still not done. 28 years later, they haven't finished 520 miles of track. In that same time period, China built enough high-speed rail to circle the Earth twice. But here's why this scale actually creates speed instead of slowing things down. When you're building something this massive, it justifies throwing unlimited resources at the problem. Mega projects get national priority status. Money flows, materials flow, workers flow. Nothing stops moving. Western projects starve for funding. Budgets get debated, cut, debated again. Construction happens in phases spread across decades because nobody wants to commit the full amount up front. China commits everything immediately and builds it all at once. Economies of scale kick in when you're operating at this level. Ordering concrete for one bridge is expensive. Ordering concrete for 100 bridges simultaneously? The price per unit drops through the floor. Building one subway line means custom solutions for every problem. Building subway systems in 229 cities means you've already solved every problem 10 times over. China isn't building 100 bridges carefully, one after another. They're building 100 bridges at the same time. Same with airports, same with highways, same with entire cities. And this is where the West has completely lost the plot. America builds infrastructure so rarely that each project becomes a special event. Massive media coverage, political grandstanding, years of debate about whether it's even necessary. By the time you finally start building, half the country has forgotten why you're doing it. China treats infrastructure like breathing. It never stops. There's always another mega project starting somewhere, always another city being built, always another impossible feat of engineering underway. And you know what happens when you build at this scale continuously? You get really, really good at it. The engineers who worked on the Three Gorges Dam moved to other dam projects. The lessons learned building one high-speed rail line got immediately applied to the next one, and the next one, and the one after that. Institutional knowledge compounds, expertise deepens, techniques improve. Western projects are so rare that by the time the next one starts, everyone who worked on the last one has moved on, retired, changed careers. The knowledge evaporates into thin air. Every Western megaproject reinvents the wheel. Every Chinese megaproject builds on the last one. China has built more than 30 cities from scratch with populations over 1 million people. 30 entire cities. They've done this so many times that they have a formula. They know exactly how to plan water systems for 1 million people, exactly how much electrical infrastructure is needed, exactly where to put the hospitals and schools and subway stations. The West is still arguing about whether to approve a new neighborhood. And here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. China's megaproject portfolio keeps growing. The scale keeps increasing. The ambition keeps pushing higher. They're not slowing down. They're accelerating. Because every completed project feeds into the next one. Every finished bridge means cranes and equipment that immediately move to a new site. Every wrapped-up subway system means trained workers who flow directly to the next city's subway project. It's a machine that builds machines. But even the best engineers working on the biggest projects can't build fast without one critical advantage: the infrastructure nobody sees. Here's what you need to understand. China isn't building fast because they work harder. They're building fast because they built the foundation first. And that foundation is something the West doesn't have. China produces 2.4 billion tons of cement every single year. That's 53% of the entire world's cement production. 53%. They produce 1 billion tons of steel annually. Again, 53% of global production. When China starts a mega project, they don't need to import materials. They don't need to negotiate with suppliers. They don't need to wait for shipments from other countries. The concrete is already being made. The steel is already being produced. Right there. Domestically, Western projects spend months just sourcing materials, negotiating contracts with cement suppliers, waiting for steel shipments, dealing with price fluctuations and supply chain delays. China's supply chain doesn't have delays because the entire supply chain is already built. But it's not just cement and steel. China dominates solar panel production. 78% of the world's solar panels come from China. Wind turbines? Same story. They're the world's largest manufacturer. Electric vehicle batteries? China controls 77% of global battery cell production capacity. Rare earth elements critical for electronics and green technology? China produces 60% of the world's supply and controls 90% of the refining capacity. This isn't just about construction materials anymore. This is about controlling the industries that define the 21st century. And it gets worse for the West. A recent study analyzed 44 critical technologies of the future, technologies that will determine which countries lead in the next 50 years. Advanced manufacturing, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, hypersonics, advanced materials. China leads in 37 of them. 37 out of 44. America leads in 7. Let that sink in. The United States, which dominated technology for the entire 20th century, now leads in only 7 critical future technologies. China didn't just catch up, they lapped everyone. And this technological dominance feeds directly into construction speed. When China needs advanced sensors for a smart city project, they manufacture them domestically. When they need AI systems to optimize traffic flow, they're world leaders in that technology. When they need quantum communication networks for secure infrastructure, they're already ahead of everyone else. Western projects need to import this technology, license it, wait for it, hope it arrives on time. China's making it all in-house. But here's where it all connects. China has concrete plants positioned near every major construction zone, not just near. Strategically placed so materials can arrive within hours, not weeks. Equipment manufacturers can deliver cranes, excavators, and tunnel boring machines in days because they're not shipping from overseas. They're driving from the factory down the road. Prefabrication facilities are already operating at massive scale. Buildings aren't constructed piece by piece on site. 70% of the work is done in factories before anything arrives at the construction location. Entire building modules roll off assembly lines like cars. Wall sections, floor panels, electrical systems already installed, plumbing already integrated. Western projects are still hammering nails on site, while Chinese projects are snapping together pre-built sections like Lego blocks. This is why China built a 57-story skyscraper in 19 days. 19 days. The building wasn't constructed, it was assembled. And the infrastructure that makes this possible, it's already everywhere. China's transportation network connects every construction site to every factory. High-speed rail doesn't just move people, it moves materials, equipment, workers. You need 10,000 tons of steel delivered to a construction site in the middle of nowhere? The highway system gets it there overnight. You need advanced robotics for automated construction? China's leading in robotics technology and manufacturing them domestically. You need 5G networks to coordinate thousands of workers and machines in real time? China deployed more 5G base stations than the rest of the world combined. Western projects spend weeks organizing logistics, renting trucks, coordinating deliveries, dealing with traffic and road restrictions, waiting for specialized technology to arrive from multiple countries. China's roads were built specifically for this kind of industrial-scale movement. Their technology is homegrown. Their supply chains are internal. But here's the part that changes everything. Every completed megaproject makes the next one easier. When China finishes a massive bridge, the cranes don't get sold off or scrapped. They move directly to the next bridge project. The equipment flows from one site to another like water. The workers who just spent 3 years building a subway system, they're already on their way to the next city to build another one. The advanced sensors and AI systems tested on one smart city, they're already being installed in 10 more cities. Western approach? Dismantle everything when the project ends. Sell the equipment. Let the specialized workers find new jobs elsewhere. Import new technology for the next project. Then start from scratch 5 years later. China never stops. The machine keeps running. And the compound effect of this is almost impossible to comprehend. Decades of infrastructure investment are paying off right now. The manufacturing capacity can surge for any project at any time. The logistics can handle simultaneous mega projects happening across the entire country. The technology they need is being invented and produced domestically. It's not just one project. It's hundreds of projects, all running at the same time, all feeding off the same industrial ecosystem, all using technology that China controls. The West is trying to build individual projects without the ecosystem to support them. It's like trying to build a skyscraper without a foundation. You can have the best engineers in the world. You can have unlimited funding. But if you don't have cement plants nearby, if you don't have steel mills ready to deliver, if you don't control the advanced technology you need, if you don't have the transportation network to move everything efficiently, you're going to be slow. And this is the truth nobody wants to admit. China didn't get fast overnight. They spent decades building the infrastructure that builds infrastructure. They spent decades investing in the technologies that would matter in the future. They built cement plants before they needed cement. They built steel mills before they needed steel. They invested in solar technology before anyone cared about renewable energy. They developed AI capabilities before it became critical. They constructed highways before they had projects to connect. The West is still waiting until they need something before they build the capacity to make it. By the time Western countries realize they need more infrastructure, China has already built the factories that will supply the next 10 years of projects. By the time the West realizes a technology is critical, China already leads the world in it. This is why the gap keeps widening. China isn't just ahead. They're accelerating while the West is still trying to figure out how to start. The engineers are making the decisions. The talent pool is endless. The projects are bigger than anything the West attempts. And underneath it all, there's an industrial foundation that took decades to build and now runs like a machine that never stops. A foundation built on dominating the industries and technologies that matter most. You're not watching China build fast. You're watching the result of 40 years of preparation finally running at full speed. And the West? The West is still debating whether to lay the first brick,